copies of one, maybe no copies of the other, maybe 2 copies. But Brian, not messing around, playing a total of 8 mana guys. He has 3 copies of Centaur Healer, only 3 Thragtusk, which is a little strange. 3 copies of Acidic Slime in the main deck, which I actually really like. It's a very good card in the mirror match, and very frustrating for decks like Esper Control to deal with as well. It's very good against Jund too. It's any mid-range deck where they're very mana hungry. Acidic Slime's a card you really want, particularly with the 3 Restoration Angel. Very good synergy there in his deck. 3 copies of Angel Serenity, and then he has 4 Unburial Rites, 3 Lingering Souls, 3 Mulch, and 4 Grizzly Sludge. So it looks like Michael Hetrick is up a game playing Esper Control. I believe he was able to mill Brian out. And Brian is going to be on the play this game, and I think he's maybe mulliganing to 6 this time. And again, pretty interesting matchup. You'd expect that it can go either way. I think that Brian has some pretty good cards in the sideboard. He's got one other Cavernous Souls, which he has one in his main deck. He's got an Abrupt Decay, which probably doesn't come in. He has a 4th Acidic Slime, which again I really like in this matchup. 2 copies of Opposite Ghost Councils. 3 Garruk Dorelis. I'm not sure if this comes in this matchup or more for the Reanimator matchup. 3 Deathrite Shaman. Again, I think that's probably more for blue-red-white control. And he has another Thragtusk in his sideboard. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not he boards in. I'd expect him to maybe bring in the Opposite Ghost Council, another Acidic Slime, and a Cavernous Soul. Not sure he wants the 4 Thragtusk, even though typically it's good against control. He's already bringing in a lot of 5-drops, so I don't think he wants that many in his deck.
Just for a little clarification for you guys at home really quickly, Ben Lundquist in the Philip Lauren match. Yes, Ben Lundquist did win, as you see Brian Braun-Duin taking a mulligan to 5. Had the points wrong in front of me. I actually misread this. He was in 5th place. He had 34 points coming into this round. He wanted to be able to draw in, and Philip obviously wanted to be able to play to try to get the top seed. But if Lundquist loses that match, he actually does miss top 8. So it was basically a win and in for Ben, where the draw was refused. So Ben being put in that situation having to play, he had to win to make top 8, and he did win.
Yeah.
So just want a little bit of clarification there. It is my mistake. I do apologize. It's basically a win and in match that he did win 2-0. So again, congratulations to him. But we are underway here. Brian Braun-Duin on a mulligan to 5. Hetrick does have his 7, and we'll see if Junk Reanimator on a mulligan to 5 can beat Esper. As you see, a Watery Grave and a Defiant Drownyard for Hetrick.
Hetrick has a Think Twice. Very important card. One of those cards that you always want. It lets you make all your land drops. Make sure you don't, because again, obviously, the worst thing for this deck is if you ever fall behind.
Yes.
So you want to make your land drop. Very mana hungry deck. Pretty good start for Michael. He's got a removal spell and Devour Flesh if he needs it. He's got a Sphinx of Revelation. He also has a Dissipate, and he has a finisher in Jace.
You see Think Twice get flashback here. Hetrick is going to draw Supreme Verdict, among other things. You see a Glacial Fortress as well. Brian Braun-Duin's hand, he does have a couple copies of Thragtusk. Looks like he has a Cavernous Souls and a Restoration Angel. So as far as mulligans go, this is not a bad hand for a mulligan at all.
No, definitely not. I wouldn't be. We're probably gonna see Cavern on Beast next turn.
Yeah.
And then a little Thragtusk action. He's got a Restoration Angel here. Not sure he wants to cast it this turn, or maybe try to get max value out of his Thragtusk.
Yep. And you see, there was a point there where Hetrick had flashback to Think Twice. Brian Braun-Duin had that 4 mana up. He could have just cast the Restoration Angel. Maybe he's a little bit scared of Devour Flesh. He doesn't want just his Angel just to get tagged. I wouldn't want to either, but we'll see if he does play it on the end step or not.
I like not playing it here just because you want to try to grind out this matchup.
Yep.
And
there is your Thragtusk, and he doesn't even have to use Cavern on Beast here because,
it's a little risky. There's
a little fear of Syncopate,
There's Syncopate, there's Essence Scatter, but I like taking a chance here because now you can go Cavernous Souls on Angel. And that opens up Angel Serenity later in the game. So
now you're going to see Devour Flesh take care of the front half of the Thragtusk. Beast Token will be coming into play here. Hetrick just wants to get some of those cards out of his hand.
Yeah.
With the Thragtusk in play, Devour Flesh is not getting much better.
And it looks like he missed his 5th land drop, so Jace isn't able to make an appearance here. He could effectively cycle Sphinx of Revelation for 1 this turn in order to try to dig a little deeper. The Beast Token comes over.
No Fear of Restoration Angel, a card that Hetrick does play 2 copies of.
Now, oh wow, he has an Obsidian too, or is he going to name Spirit? It looks like, you have to name Spirit
here. This is a huge draw step for Brian on a mulligan to 5. Not only does he have all of his lands, one of them is Cavern, now Obsidian's in play, and we know that for Esper, this is a very, very difficult card to beat.
Not that many instant speed. Devour Flesh is one of the few pseudo answers to an Obsidian, but again, even now wouldn't really matter. So yeah, Cavern on Spirit helps get that Obsidian into play no matter what.
And now you see Obsidian go into hiding. And one thing in this matchup, Osip, is the back and forth between Obsidian and do you attack with it, do you not? Do you want to get Azorius Charm, but then it can get Drown Yard off the top? We might just see that come in, deal 2, go out. Come in, deal 2, go out. We'll see how Hetrick is going to play it, but I think the green light's on to attack this turn.
Green light is definitely on this turn.
As you see, Jace Memory Adapter is going to come into play. We'll see if Hetrick is going to mill or if he's going to draw cards here with that Planeswalker.
So if Brian wants to, he can definitely attack with the Obsidian this turn, although Michael does have a chump blocker for the Obsidian, so the Beast can attack Jace down to 1, but he'll still be around next turn. So let's see how this turn plays out for Brian. He has another Thragtusk in his hand, along with a Restoration Angel. Obsidian comes back, drops Michael down to 10. Wow, and an Burial Rites here allows him to get a Thragtusk back. Really good mulligan for Brian.
I mean, you see part of the reason that this is one of the best decks in Standard, and potentially still is. The power level on this deck is off the charts. It's a deck that also mulligans well when you have a deck with Mana Accelerants and Mulch and Grizzly Salvage. And now he's just playing a normal game of Magic, as Tom Martell deemed it a ramp deck. Basically, when your graveyard is being taken care of, he's just playing a normal game here.
And you know what? The fact that I think he might just attack Michael here, because he's already at 10 life. I think you just go after Michael.
I'm ignoring that, Chase.
Yeah,
I don't care about
you ignore it.
Mill away, my friend. I have Unburial Rights in my hand.
Chump Black go to 7. I like Unburial Rights on Acidic Slime going after land, because Michael already missed 1 land drop. Put a little pressure on his mana here.
Yep.
You've got, here we go.
Brian agrees with you. We'll see what land he wants to take out here. I think Drown Yard being the least relevant of the ones in play. Maybe just want to tag one of those colors.
I don't know. I might just get rid of a Drown Yard. Who cares? Yep. He's got all the mana he wants. You've got Obsidian coming into play next turn, so a Supreme Verdict wouldn't even be good here. And you still have Restoration Angel, which can blink in Acidic Slime and even put even more pressure on Michael's mana.
Now we're going to see an Augur of Bolas here from Michael. He's going to look at the top 3. Those 3 are going to go down to the bottom. I think one of the cards he's looking for there, Osip, is Azorius Charm. He needs a little bit of help. He finds nothing. You see the Charm in his hand. You see multiple Supreme Verdicts in his hand as well, but he is bottlenecked on mana.
Yeah, and Azorius Charm will not help him, because we know that Brian does have a Restoration Angel in his hand, so you can always just blink. He could still attack with the Obsidian if he wants to.
And so now you see another Mill Tent from Jace here. Turns over a couple in Burial Rights. You saw another Acidic Slime as well. Obsidian's going to come back, drain and gain 2 life each way. But again, Michael misses land drop. You see the blink with the Restoration Angel on the slime. You see a Burial Rights on the slime that's in the graveyard. This game has taken a huge turn, and then Obsidian started everything.
Yeah, you can see just how annoying Acidic Slime can be in this matchup, because the Esper Control deck is just so mana hungry, like we said earlier. And obviously, cards like Obsidian, Thragtusk are the real ways you win. Yep. But Acidic Slime is just one of those cards that can be very frustrating to deal with.
And now you see that Braun-Duin is going to start his turn by getting an Acidic Slime into play via Unburial Rights, so that no Azorius Charm shenanigans can happen here. Mm-hmm. So he's going to target one of these lands. It looks like the Water Grave. You see Hetrick is going to scoop him up. So Brian Braun-Duin on mulligan at 5 cards, no problem, going to game 3.
And yep, it's interesting that he didn't choose to just cast a Restoration Angel from his hand. Sure. But I guess he was maybe afraid of an ultimate price. So either way, Brian off a mulligan to 6, I believe, or a mulligan to 5.
That was 5.
A mulligan to 5 just shows you how powerful those creatures are, And that's the thing about Junk Reanimator, and that people kind of didn't understand early on. They kept thinking, oh, what's the Reanimator deck? I just need copies of Rest in Peace. I just need cards like Purify the Grave in order to deal with Burial Rights. It's not the case. All those creatures are just so robust and so powerful. And the one thing I like about Brian's list is he doesn't even play Craterhoof Behemoth. He just doesn't care about it. Yeah. He's like, I don't need Craterhoof Behemoth to win. That's a win more card. I can win with my creatures. They're all very good.
Yep. And now you see, you can take a look at the body language here. You see Brian, on a mulligan to 5, you can certainly get down on yourself a little bit. Mulligan to 5 down a game here in this situation is certainly a tough spot to be in. You take a look at Hetrick's body language. I feel like he looks like a little bit shaken after losing that game. You're up a game. You're playing for top 8. Your opponent mulligans to 5. We've been in that situation before. Yeah. You're feeling pretty good.
If I'm up a game and my opponent mulligans to 5 in game 2 and I lose that game, I almost never win the 3rd game. Yeah, I am on just full-blown tilt.
Yeah, there's a mental thing
There's a mental thing that you just think, that was my chance. I'm playing for top 8. He mulls to 5, and I lost. Yeah. It just gets into your head. It's hard to shake that. And it's crazy to think that, oh, well, obviously it doesn't really matter, but it does. It gets into your head. It's tough to shake that off. That was your chance.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me I'm playing for top 8 of this turn, my opponent mulliganed to 5 game 2, and I'm up a game, I'm pumping the fist.
Yeah.
That's just a natural reaction. You're happy that that's happening. You're in a great position now.
And it's not like Michael played badly. He just the game just kept slipping away from him.
And now you see him taking a mulligan.
Oh.
And now that can get to your psyche a little bit. Now, don't get us wrong here. Hetrick is a fantastic Magic player. Again, multiple Magic Online PTQ wins. He's lost in the finals of the Invitational Lauren Nolan when we were in Annapolis a couple of years ago. This is a fantastic Magic player. But these are only natural things that can't happen. And we're not saying that he's going to tilt off and play very poorly and not play a land when he has one. That's not what we're saying at all.
No,
it's
I'm
just something
saying
to
that.
consider.
I'm saying
that.
Yeah,
you're saying that's going to happen?
No, obviously not. But I don't think Michael's a good enough player to know these things happen. I don't think it's going to allow him to be on tilt. But again, it is very frustrating when you think suddenly, even something like having the mulligan, sometimes it can get into your head and you think, am I just destined to lose?
Yeah.
Is this just, you know what I mean? So it's hard to try to get out of that mindset. You really got to focus on, listen, it's just a game. It doesn't matter. It was just a random thing. I didn't play incorrectly. My opponent just had better draws that game. It didn't matter.
Sometimes you just lose.
Yeah.
You chalk it up, move on to game 3. Take a mulligan, mulligans happen. Keep moving on. As you're going to see Braun-Duin play that Godless Shrine tap, you're going to see Hetrick play a Think Twice, as Braun-Duin does have a Malik Sovereign to play. He's going to draw a card. You see a couple cards here. Restoration Angel, Azorius Charm, and a mitt full of lands, and Augur of Bolas. So not a bad hand here. He's going to be able to undo his mulligan rather easily, and Supreme Verdict's going to go to his hand.
Yeah, and he needs to get some action here because really he has the Restoration Angel, so Augur of Bolas was a great draw there. He wants to get a little more action going on. He has a Supreme Verdict, Azorius Charm, but not really what he really wants cards like Sphinx's Revelation, Rest in Peace. He needs to try to find some action here. Looks like Brian just passes the turn. I believe Michael will do the same. Neither. Oh, and Brian does have the Cavern of Souls again. I believe he has a Thragtusk as well, so maybe Cavern on Beast here. Oh, nope, even better. Cavern on Spirit.
So Obsidat is going to show up to the party again, and for Hetrick, this is worst case situation. You see those 2 copies of Obsidat in Braun-Duin's sideboard, looking for a Cavern check really quickly here.
Yes, 2 caverns.
One in the main, one in the sideboard. So these cards are in his sideboard for a reason. It's for this matchup.
Yeah, well, and again, Michael does have an Azorius Charm, so he has a pseudo answer, but
I mean, this is the thing I brought up last game. Who says that thing's attacking?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, thankfully, Michael does have a Restoration Angel, and he also revealed a Sphinx Revelation.
Sure.
So Brian can't play the game of just, I'm going to drain you every turn. He
Sure.
just realistically, he can't. He's not going to win that race.
Now
And Michael did draw a Devour Flesh,
yep.
so that's a huge draw as well.
So maybe we'll see Hetrick potentially go on the offensive here. Is that what we might see? I mean, this is a deck that mills people out, but
well, it's interesting that he chooses not to attack there. I think I don't really see the value in not
explain that point.
attacking.
I mean, do you think attacking is good here? Do you think dealing damage is actually relevant when there's Thragtusk, there's Obsidats? Do you think it's realistic to deal enough combat damage to win the game?
Well, I don't think you're blocking.
Okay.
If anything, you're going to cast Azorius Charm, and so I don't really know why you wouldn't attack there.
Because we're going to see a Temple Garden come into play on tap. You guys see the Thragtusk on the table, and now you see an Avacyn's Pilgrim as well.
Yeah, because he has the Drown Yard as well. So yeah, so Brian's not planning on getting Azorius Charm this game. He's comfortable with just trying to do a life drain here.
So now we're going to see Hetrick flashback Think Twice, Drown Catacombs into Augur of Bolas. You're going to see Hetrick play one of the many lands in his hand here. We might start the turn off with an Augur. You might see Supreme Verdict. We'll see how he's going to navigate this turn, as he does have a lot of options, and he's basically trying to find a way for that Devour Flesh to maybe pick off that Obsidat, which is going to be really tough with these things on the board.
Yeah. Like now, obviously, you don't attack with Restoration Angel because you want to just trade with the Thragtusk.
Absolutely.
And you want to cast Sphinx's Revelation. So I'm totally fine with this line. However, the last turn, it just seems strange because if you do attack with Restoration Angel, Brian knows you have Sphinx Revelation, so maybe he just decides I have to attack with the Obsidat.
And you do see Brian Braun-Duin's hand right now. You see the hand of multiple Burial Rites here. His graveyard has not been controlled by Hetrick yet. We don't see any cards like Dissipate or Syncopate in Hetrick's hand either, so those Burial Rites are still on. And now you see a Lingering Souls as well, and Braun-Duin is considering his options of casting that, as he knows there's a Supreme Verdict over there.
And again, even though Obzedat is difficult for the Esper deck to deal with, I don't hate this board position right now. I think Michael can still pull this one out.
You're going to see a Revelation draw 3 cards, gain him 3 life. He's going to play a Drowned Catacombs, and is he going to pull a trigger maybe on a Supreme Verdict now? That's the question, because, you know, he is behind on the board. Obzedat is looming, and the Burial Rites, we of course know, are in Brian Braun-Duin's hand. And for Hetrick, you have to probably feel that you think he has at least one of Burial Rites as well. So you're a little bit scared, but he's going to lead off with a Jace Memory deck too.
I like the Jace play here. I like drawing a card. I prefer. Well, let's see if he mills 10, or I like drawing a card here. I think you want to uptick it to 5.
Milling's so dangerous.
So,
He's going to uptick to 5. We'll see who he targets with the mill. As we saw last game, the milling came back to bite him with the Burial Rites and the Acidic Slime, so that's scary to do.
Oh, perfect mill. Draws a Purify the Grave and mills the Think Twice.
All right, that's not so bad.
Pretty good situation for Michael here. I love the Jace play because basically forces Brian to make a decision. Do I attack Jace? Do I attack Michael? Either way, Michael still has an Azorius Charm in his deck, in his hand, so really great turn for Michael.
Now, one card to keep in mind before Brian does draw his turn: Acidic Slime can blow up this turn very badly. Avacyn's Pilgrim is just the draws. We saw Acidic Slime break up Azorius Charm last game. If he has a Slime there, maybe kills the Hallowed Fountain, and then Obzedat has free reign to attack.
Yep.
So Hetrick does dodge that bullet, but you see just the impact that Acidic Slime can have.
Yeah, so this is a pretty good situation right here for Michael. He can actually cast Azorius Charm into Thragtusk if he wants, or the Obzedat. Yeah, and I like, looks like Obzedat.
So now you're going to see Obzedat actually come in this time. You're going to see Azorius Charm. It's going to put that up top.
Perfect scenario.
So you saw Braun-Duin make the choice multiple turns to not attack. He was perfectly content doing that, and now he does pull the trigger. But Purify the Grave, that shield is down, so I think you take the opportunity, yeah. So Burial Rites get that back while he's tapped out. Thragtusk comes back. The life gain, relatively irrelevant,
Doesn't
but
matter.
The body on the table is what's important, and the fact that if the Supreme Verdict is cast, a Beast Token will come into play, as we're going to see Hetrick draw an Augur of Bolas here.
Yeah, and Michael's slowly regaining control. He can cast Sphinx of Revelation. He can cast a Supreme Verdict here pretty safely. He can play an Augur of Bolas to chump block for the turn. And again, Brian's still on the decision: do I attack Jace? Do I attack Michael? And he's forced to attack Jace, but he's not even going to be able to kill Jace this turn because Michael can uptick it.
Yeah. So we do the Supreme Verdict. It's going to take everything except for that Beast Token that does come back from a Thragtusk.
And if Michael can choose to play an Augur to uptick, well, he's going to uptick first.
We see a mill 10.
Mill 10, okay.
All right, so he's going to get his move on, and I actually kind of like this quite a bit here. As you see Lingering Souls on Burial Rites and a couple of Acidic Slimes get turned over, and now you're going to see an Augur of Bolas because maybe he's baiting Brian into casting on Burial Rites now.
So the Purify the Grave gets turned on.
Absolutely, and then that's a Time Walk. So maybe he's certainly baiting him. His Augur of Bolas is going to put 3 cards on the bottom. Braun-Duin's going to untap. He's going to draw. You see a Thragtusk as his draw for the turn, and Jace is going to start attacking that life total now, as you see Brian Braun-Duin looking through that graveyard, maybe considering it on Burial Rites, but he's going to start with an attack here.
Yeah, we're going to see chump block for sure here.
Now, and don't forget about that Devour Flesh either.
Yeah. It's going to be, what does Brian do here? He can flashback Lingering Souls and flashback on Royal Rites, but looks like Michael's just going to cast Purify the Grave on whatever he targets.
Yep, so there goes the Obzedat. That is gone now. Purify the Grave does take care of that. For Brian Braun-Duin, he can flash back, of course, those Lingering Souls, and he is going to do that. So 2 Spirit Tokens will come into play. That Jace is still under duress a little bit here, as we don't believe he has another mass removal effect in his hand, but Hetrick's going to draw a card. It's another Jace.
So here, no, it does
it
look
looks
like he has
like
another Supreme
Verdict.
Yeah, so really great situation for Michael right here. He can flashback Purify the Grave from another to stop another Burial Rites. He still has a Sphinx of Revelation in his hand, has a Devour Flesh to deal with any follow-up, and he has a second Jace that if for some reason this one goes. So I like just milling 10 here and then casting Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, he is turning the corner very nicely in a game that he looked very, very behind in.
Yeah, and this is this Jace, this Esper deck can suddenly just out of nowhere suddenly slowly turn the corner and just regain this huge advantage.
And you just see the power of, you would think that, intuitively that Jace would be counterintuitive in this matchup. I'm going to mill a Reanimator deck. What am I, crazy? They got Burial Rites, they got Lingering Souls. What am I doing? But this might be the best avenue of attack. Is drawing yards too slow, and you can't kill them via damage. It's not realistic from that deck.
It's just tough, and you put them in a position where even if they do have a couple of creatures out there attacking the Jace anyway, there's these board sweeping effects that are very difficult. So yeah, Brian's in real danger of getting milled out very quickly.
And now you see Mulch as the draw set for Brian. Matt, you can't cast that.
Yeah.
That's 4 more cards off the top of your deck, and your life total is your library.
Yep.
Let's not kid ourselves here. You're going to see a Lingering Souls here from Braun-Duin. We'll see if he's going to flash this back or anything, and he is going to flash it back. So 4 Spirit Tokens are going to come into play. That's probably going to be his turn. Jace is going to be able to mill 10 more cards, and we'll see what Hetrick's draw step is and see what that changes.
He can activate the Drown Yard too, so you can activate the Drown Yard at the end of the turn. Mill Brian again for 10. Sure, Jace loses, but I have another Jace in my hand. I can just cast and activate it, and that's
second
game.
Jace is the big deal, right? Because he kills the first one. If you're Braun-Duin, you finally kill the first one. You're feeling pretty good about yourself, as you're going to see the mill for 3 here be a Garruk Relentless, a Thragtusk, and an Overgrown Tomb. But that's not going to do it because he has the backup Jace in his hand, and he draws another Purify the Grave just in case.
Just in case, yeah. So we're going to see another mill 10. Might not even need the second Jace. The Valley of Drown Yard might be enough, but either way, Michael looks to be in firm control of this game. Crater of Behemoth is ironically one of the few cards that might be able to pull this game out.
Yep. And now you're going to see those Spirit Tokens come across. You're going to see them likely attack that Jace. It does take care of it. And again, Braun-Duin's probably thinking, all right, like I got that thing off the table finally. I'm going to count my deck, see how many cards are left there. But between that other Jace being an activation and that Drown Yard, I don't think he's going to have the time to kill him. I mean, Hetrick's at 13, but there's also Revelation looming.
Well, the thing is, Brian's thinking, okay, well, I can maybe try to get an Acidic Slime into play somehow, but I still know he has a Purify of the Grave in his graveyard. If I can get an Acidic Slime to kill his Drown Yard, maybe that's enough, you know. But yeah, it's not looking good for Brian right now.
So now you're going to see him just go with a Thragtusk, pass the turn back, and kind of cross his fingers and hope. I mean, you saw Brian count his library. He's probably thinking to himself as he's going to flashback Lingering Souls that, you know, how do I beat the Drown Yard activations? But that's not what he needs to be worried about.
Yeah.
It's that second Jace.
And he doesn't know that, obviously.
No, and you see Hetrick show it to him. Yep, and that's it. Michael Hetrick does win this match 2-1 over Brian Braun-Duin playing Junk Reanimator, and that was impressive.
That was impressive. Obviously not tilted.
Not one bit. Not one bit.
Executed that very perfectly. And again, good player. Very familiar with this type of deck. Didn't let losing the second game despite a multiply by his opponent.
It's so easy in that situation because I've been there, and I'll be completely honest. I have done it before. I'm up a game in the finals of a relevant tournament. My opponent multiplies and I lose that game. You know, be it close, be it not close, and then I'm mulliganing game 3, and when I'm on the plane, I'm just thinking, are you kidding me?
Yeah.